Hi, welcome to part 2 of this mat with a message that is written in the word of enlightenment infused with empathic energy. When you're ready, let's go. So in taking a look at it from this perspective, and one day I may try and really figure out how to do this so you can hear me better. Yes, my microphone is in a vase, but that's okay. We're here to scry the artistry and see what shapes and symbols stand out. We'll add on tarot and oracle to support. So if you'd like to take a moment with me to close the eyes, cleansing the palette of perception, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support. Beautiful. I'm seeing an escalator. I'm seeing hockey sticks. I'm actually seeing two different kinds of sports, almost like I'm looking at in the spirit of a Masonic lodge, but it's not a Masonic lodge. It's some sort of symbol that's showing like almost like empathic energies, or those that lean into it, I suppose is like a great way of saying it. They lean into acknowledging this sense as to integrate it into life, to enhance the earthly experience. It's almost like by doing so, you become a part of this club. You know what I'm saying? It's a club, but it's not a club, you know? Just those who are working in... It's a club, but it's not a club. You get it or you get it. I'm seeing a being in here, and really strong muscles are coming through. And, ooh, what is that? Yep. Okay, so it's almost as if there's this energy between climbing to some sort of pinnacle or point of reference. Sorry, I'm looking at the monitor so I can look at it the same view you are. So when I saw it like an escalator, and it can kind of feel sometimes for empaths, at least the way I can say for myself, is it sometimes feels like a circus, and you're getting, it's like dodgeball, density dodgeball. But once you hit that pinnacle, but that perspective, and I feel like this is where you might be at. This is where you're heading towards, and you're not way down at the bottom. You're like midway, knowing that your energy, a portion of your energy, is already here, and it's like going to be infused back in. And when I was talking about the dodgeball feel, force came in, Mars energy, and that's exactly how it can feel sometimes. I'm having a conversation up here. I'm looking at something, and someone, a cloud, so there's probably a spirit around you, perhaps your birth spirit, or a spirit that specifically helps in the guidance of angel, whatnot, that helps with your energies, empathic energies quite specifically. So balance has also come in for the empaths, for the empathic energy. Even, and sorry, it just came in. It's like I'm connecting into an empathic energy individually, and then empaths, you might also resonate with tuning into the collective empathic energy, right? Those who don't necessarily know, or they just, it's not a primary sense that they lead with, or it's an awareness that they're, not conscious of. And friends has come through. And instead of seeing them as frenemies, frequency enemies, if they're, just choosing not to this round, this lifetime, it's okay. But there is also, with the 11th house and friends, it's coming into those beings that I was talking about, the guidance. There's friends. You always have friends in different areas, and I think sometimes empaths, you can trust trust your intuition, the energies working around you, that there are beings that you can almost like talk to yourself to, but you're not talking to yourself. I see has come in to support. And it's almost as if by doing so, I believe is on the bottom, to believe that even though you may not quote unquote see them with your physical eyes, or see them with the holographic sight, if they, you know, in that ghostly apparition of sorts, but see them with your empathic eyes, sensing them, that is another sight. And really, it's almost like, if I can, it's like coming through that, you know, if you can harness your empathy to help maneuver individually, it in turn supports the interconnected nature. If you didn't watch the other side, side A, I'll put the link below in the description. But there's something about that, the unselfishness, but knowing that the work you do for yourself, the time you might take to perceive and receive things on different levels, you know, adjusting, that is a service to the collective. And your guides see you, your teachers, other energies, other empaths are your friends. In the event that they align with you, right? It's just because you're empath doesn't mean it's an automatic, you know, friends for life. But it is like a camaraderie to share experiences. And I also want to note that these two cards are very much so making me feel like the coloring of this mat. The cobalt blues, the light blues, the sky, the water, the purples. And we did go through that on the other side. And then I'm also seeing this as a eyes closed owl with a tripod. There's a lot of stability coming into that balance feel. I have a lot of stability where I can close my eyes and trust. And I know that it's not always an easy word just to say. You know, it kind of makes me feel like, oh, we'll just let go, or rest, trust. Truly, in this moment that we may be here together on this mat, within this mat, the energy of the mat, and drawing out the wisdoms that can almost like windshield washers of the eyes, you know, clear away the tears, and knowing there's different kinds of tears. If they come from the corners of your eyes by the nose bridge, they're tears of grief. If they come from the middle of the eyes, they're tears of, I can't remember, sorry. And if they come from the outside crease, what is it? Tears of joy? I can't remember what the middle one is, but if it interests you, it'll stand out. So we have here dear power, the power of gentleness, the power of tranquility. This feels like tranquility. The dear spirit coming in to support that. Somebody's also calling you dear. My dear, my dear. Could be the guides up in the clouds. That's how I'm seeing them. And I also want to know, fellow empaths, or if you're here with me, please know that there's something regal about you. I think it comes back down to this club. In some way, shape, or form. Something about this club, it feels more like an awareness, and club is not the right word, but it's more like an energy, egregor. There's honor, there's respect to the so many different ways each vessel, vehicle transmutes this, receives it, filters through what could be a benefit to strengthen, soften this, that, or the other, and then release back out into the river of reality. And as an empath, you are a river of reality. And as that's being said, stars coming through. And again, if you didn't watch side A, that's completely okay. But the background, the abstract background, when I create an ink blot and I utilize the Muse, the word, it is written, and I draw it down, for me personally, as that dries, Then I step into a next state of contemplation for the abstract background, which is another experience, and it's usually layered. But for this was about sensing the color of empathic enlightenment, and all the blues came through to draw down the soothing sensation that I felt in that moment of the sky and of the water. Sorry if you can hear that. My neighbor is a ATV quad specialist, and that's okay. 10 of Cups. And this is the sensation of freedom, the feeling of floating that comes through by gazing up at the stars and seeing all the different things in the water reflecting back. And to talk to the water, even the spirit of the water, talk to the spirit of the stars, because they are your friends. They are our friends. This wisdom to relax. There's bunny birds up here in the brain, and it's reminding me to not let the fears become so fertile that they're uncontrollable, right? And they're just running amok. The birds come in to like act as signals to what could be rising into your reality. If there is an excess of residual energy or external influences, and it always comes home to us as the responsible one to recognize. Ace of Cups is coming through. Yes. Blooming within. To bloom within the body while being a vessel for other energies, as we all are to some degree or another. But I assume if you're here, you are sensitive to it like a superpower. I'm going to keep going here, and I'm actually going to draw this. Sorry, I'm going to draw this mat down just a little bit. Okay, see if that works out. I'm going to take a moment. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and any links to be your muse, to be my muse. Everything's in the description box below. I'm seeing a smiley face, like googly eyes, and like this cheeky smiling face. I feel like empaths have that ability. It's almost like introvert, extrovert. You know, you can just smile and nod, smile and nod. And sometimes that's what you need to do until you can really digest it, right? I'm also seeing canoes, and I'm seeing an island in here. So it's like an island with one tree on it. Actually, sorry, there's two trees, but I'm not sure if it's one tree and a person. That could be you, but I feel like this mat's bringing me into that. Like it is, you know how they say in sort of meditations or past life regressions, or even going into your energetic environment, and whether you use a bridge or a ladder, a garden, some sort of happy place. And for some empaths, it might be on an island. It might be on an island. When we were talking about the bunnies coming up as fear and the moon. Okay, so that makes sense why, sorry, there's things that I'm looking at on the mat and supporting. Thank you. So maybe sometimes when any of those fears come up, like I'm carrying too much, I'm overwhelmed, check in. Is it all mine? Are all these opinions or all these racing thoughts, are they all mine? Can I go to my happy place for a minute and it's like putting messages in a bottle and return to source and let it float amongst the fluidity and the frequency of water, which is willing to be of service and work with you, for you, even of air if it needs to be spoken. Okay, so I'm moving on up here, and I'm just gonna take a hot second here when it came up with fears and the moon. Because the fears are in the water and the moon is in space, and this mat is infused with that. So I love that that's coming through. You can take a moment here and pause right here. It's like I'm playing that dance game where you would step on things and you have to do it in tune, or whatever kind of video game that would be, where you're in tune with what's going on to play the pattern. And sometimes sticking to a pattern helps align, but other times we It could be watching this game. Let's say it's reality, the Matrix, whatever, simulation, whatever you want to call it. And they're giving us the beats, and we're racing as they're going faster and faster. Left, right, right, left, 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 right, right, right. Sometimes you just need to step off and say, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. It's also one of those games from when I was a kid. I can't remember what it's called. Simon. Beep, 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 beep. Sometimes those patterns, especially working with colors and sound, can help us program ourselves based on our needs to better thrive and be of service to self, which is in service to others, respectfully. Because as you're moving through, as you canoe and wander the asphalt rivers in your car, as you walk with your 2 feet in a heartbeat, and you go out there and do your day, you are a vessel for this. You are the sound through your voice and the way you speak. You are an energy. You are a water. This is what you bring to the collective. So instead of surviving, and we move into a space of thriving by pausing before we cross the threshold, say from the house to the car, or the car to work, to your family members. Pause, assess your programming that's you built, you have revised, you are constantly tweaking and twerking. It's an incredible ability, but it does take time. But it can take just moments of a day. It takes strength for the harmony. And just like how we were talking about there, the strength it takes to harmonize is there. Bridges, harps, stepping into your skin. Empaths, I hope this is making sense. I really, really hope it's making sense. On the bottom here, we have the universe. And underneath the universe, we have magician. And underneath that, last but not least, we have trust. Trust. The breakthroughs are you. You decide what the breakthroughs are. You decide what the programming is. But it's like taking time. Fool. Taking time to regenerate it's almost like keys, if I may. It's the keys of believing in yourself and acknowledging things. And if there's a sensation of, being somewhere, like I tend to personally, when I say large groups, it can really be more than like 4 or 5 people. And to me, it's large. It depends on everyone's energy and the alchemy, the subject matter, this, that, or the other. However, you're going into a large thing and just knowing your boundaries and going in and saying, okay, I'm going to be here for a few hours because I know, and not because I am weak or not because I don't care enough or love enough to suffer. The best version of me is for this amount of time. The best version of me. But I'm going to respectfully prepare the people or the host and say, you know what, thank you so much. But I'm a little bit spent and I've had such a great time and I'm so grateful. But I'm going to go while the best version of me is still existing. The best version of me is still infusing with this and interacting. Does that make sense? I feel like it does. But hopefully I didn't butcher it along the way. All right, let's carry on here. I am seeing... I'm in Austin Powers. Yeah, it's Austin Powers and... What's those shark... There's a tank of shark something. It's bringing me into staying sharp. Stay sharp in the mind. Not to the degree, so that you don't get dull. I don't mean to the degree where you're not constantly sharpening it out, but it's a skill set. It's a skill. A natural ability you may have, a natural sense that you have, is still a skill set, and it's worth spending a little bit of time, a little bit of breath. And now it just transformed into a donkey. Amazing, a donkey. And now it just transformed into I'm probably not going to pronounce it right, lemony snicket. series of unfortunate events. Like, this is how fast it can change, right? As an empathic energy, even with your eyes, and it's like, oh, I was having a great time, and then it can go into a series of unfortunate events to, like, Eeyore. Is Eeyore actually a donkey? Well, I'm going to go with it, to this melancholy feel. And then I come into this saber-toothed tiger, quite specifically, is coming through. All these different shape-shifting. This is what you're doing. This is, do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Horse. I don't have my glasses on, so apologies. Horse, freedom, orca, song lines maybe. I'll bring these up. In some empaths, of course, we want to feel free. Break free. But those come with breakthroughs and stepping into more of being who you are. And that doesn't mean, stepping into it and then pouring all over everyone saying, I'm stepping forward with my empathic energy, so all must abide to my boundaries. No, that's not what this is. The wisdom coming back to the owl. It is my responsibility solely to acknowledge and respect myself. There's the orca stepping forward as well. I will emanate the song lines for others to receive my words or to receive my call to the best of their ability, and trying not to control that. Because of course, sometimes we want to try and control things so that we're more comfortable. I don't know how many times, empathically speaking, I would put somebody else's comfort before mine because I'm uncomfortable. I can sense they're uncomfortable for whatever reason. So I would project it out. If I can help release their comfort, I will shapeshift accordingly to make their comfort priority, because by cause and effect, I'm going to relax. And in some cases, once I've matured into this understanding of energetic alchemy, there are seeds of it correct for me, but I realized at a younger date I was becoming a character. So then I couldn't uphold the character, and I was really ended up punishing myself because I would shift into form for them first, but I kind of lost myself. But that doesn't mean it's because I have that archetype there, I was able to pull it up. But the wisdom came through as I grew into this to realize this is very exhausting. So what I'm going to do is recognize they're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable, and I'm going to start creating comfort for me that'll exude to them. And that means finding that alignment, finding the energy that we work in. And if I notice they're very fiery and I'm very watery in this moment, okay, can I shift a little bit my water into earth? Can I swim into my water energy to find the cliff or find the shore where we might meet better and communicate on earth with earth energy as our medium, right? I don't know if I said that enough where it makes sense, but it would draw a song line where I could still be me, and the next time they met me, or the next, many times we interacted, I didn't need to be anybody else. We can both shapeshift. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of growing. But I didn't want to necessarily have to hold that character as it suppressed other versions of me. And in some cases, that's a valuable thing, but I wanted to be able to still be me and have them share in that versus me prioritizing them. And I got lost. And inevitably over time, it's another mechanism, right? Okay, I've yammered on, but hopefully you understood that. Because the point was, in all of that yammering, I freed myself through my own learnings of realizing what I was doing was of good intent. Absolutely good intent. But I needed to free myself from all these slightly different versions of me so that I could sing them all as needed authentically. So we could both enjoy, I'm seeing like a harp playing, like all the way through. And it would be an orchestra of an interaction versus rah, 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 you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Unseen here we have was gorilla. Again, I apologize. I think it says peace. And I can speak for myself, fellow empaths, as the peacekeeper. And sometimes I would just remove myself. We all have those situations. You know what is best for you, to remove, to stay, to listen. Those are shifting senses to apply into the situation. What am I going to, utilize in my toolbox here? But peace was what I needed to be found through me. And here is where that supports to be the peace. And even sometimes expressing that to somebody, depending on who my audience was, is saying, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable here, or I'm not digging this, but I'm going to take a moment here to consider how I may find a happy place, especially if we're talking about grief or a loss of somebody. And everyone's uncomfortable. Nobody's comfortable in this situation. But let's not be afraid of that discomfort. Many times I found for me, it was sitting with somebody else in discomfort was the very thing that led us to peace. Just by willing to have a buddy in there, doing nothing, holding space, and just, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. Through the melancholy, through the sharks, through anything that feels like you're tongue-tied and you can't talk. And I'm seeing some sort of horror movie where the lips have been tied shut, and then all the other senses have to light up, and it's kind of in that shape-shifting ability, which, if you know me, looking at the totality of it, has its benefits, but it can also go too far if it swings the other direction where we don't recognize ourselves. There's too many personality traits, or there's behaviors, there's mechanisms we've adopted to, where we're like, oh no, that's the version I need to upkeep now. Freed from all that, but respecting, if I'm free and I'm not going to be who I was to other people, there's still that kindness to say, you can't just rip the Band-Aid off for others and to say, this is the new me, to float in the waters with them and nudge. Everyone's being nudged. Gently, and protected by the infinite universe. There's another owl eye up here, but these owl eyes are looking down. There's a face in here, and then there's the crisscross, but all these other senses are lighting up. If one can't speak for one reason or another, maybe you feel mute, looking at a new path or a new direction, your other senses to be of service. Even other elements to be of service, like I was saying in that example. But maybe that's oversharing, and that's maybe okay, maybe not. But accepting your life's importance with the cardinal, right? Accepting your life is important, your energy is important. Prioritize that. Move through the different angles that are there for us to use to our advantage, to have things bounce off us. Help release them with more compassion than that in which they came. If we pick up residual energy throughout our day, week, month, year, at all these different places, and we recognize that we just kind of sponge them up for one reason or another, and that's fine. Nobody's beating each other up. So maybe you have that salt bath, you go grounding, you go walking, you have that very specific conscious shower, whatever the case may be. And when it's being released and when you're washing it away, you've added compassion as you are releasing and returning it to source, whoever's the source is that will most benefit from it, and appreciating the water element or the road if you're walking, or the grass, that they are the next vehicle to carry the energy. But now it's added with a little bit more love than which it came. I'm also seeing up here, there's somebody holding somebody up. They're almost like they're walking on chimneys or some sort of jumping. They've got a particular kind of boot on. And I know you might not be able to see it from my perspective as clearly. But there's the one being that's walking on top, like if you're two poles and there's the space in between. And it's a wobbly feeling. I'm not going to lie, it's a wobbly feeling. The irony is here is that there is another spirit holding up their hand. And I say spirit because it could be absolutely a tangible person. It could be your partner. It could be something you have in place. It could be a friend, buddy, a tool, a teaching. And it is filling the gap, what I'm sensing, for you to take the next step. The next one is already being built to be prepared when you decide to take the step. It's okay that you're a little wobbly. Again, there is a caterpillar type energy that is watching. And if anyone's looking for some sort of, pat on the back, and absolutely, every so often we all want a pat on the back to say, wow, look at the distance. Look at the distance in that you're walking. The air element, up towards the sky, up towards the stars. But you have help. You have help. Like they're being the next step for you. I'm seeing a bust of, I'm just seeing a bust. I don't know what it's of. It's another energy or entity. And as soon as you decide to take the next one, their hat, because right now they're in a sleeping state, is how I'm feeling it. So think of like a old school, like Scrooge, or I'll go with Scrooge, like the Christmas Carol. As soon as you decide to step into this seemingly odd space, this liminal space that you might feel in sometimes, their sleeping cap's going to raise on up and be the next step for you. Something you've done, something in the past has already made way for these two. And there's beings in between preparing to build an in-between in case you need it, want it, or you simply want to rest. Interestingly enough as well, so I'm going to skip ahead, that you take this guy, there's, like I said, it's already there, but it's kind of like a blimp thing. It's a cloud energy that is already getting rid of stuff here in the future because of something you've done in the past. You've created a seed for something. It will awaken this spirit guide, this spirit, your energy, this aspect, this gift, whatever it is, will awaken and set you up for the next stage. Does that make sense? I feel like it does. Secret and noble guardianship with the crane here, long neck, absolutely. You have it's like being part of that secret lodge. I don't know how else to say it. All right, I'm going to get ready to close out here. I hope this has been educational, entertaining, and even as fellow empaths, just sometimes it's nice to talk and get it out how it can feel. Melancholy, happy, the shape-shifting, all the different characters, right? Again, strength is coming out once again. But know that you are part and parcel of the protection of things beyond perhaps what we can even perceive from here and now. But that giant owl with the halo, symbolically speaking, of course, is letting you know, is reminding you, whether you attribute it to a person or an energy of all that is. Sorry, I do my best not to make well, it's fine. Okay. All right, closing out messages here. If you see anything, of course, always please feel well to comment. Wow, a lot of strength is coming through right in the chest plate area. Yeah. Seeing with your heart sometimes. Can that compassion and kindness, starting with the self, right? Starting with the self. I know I said it from the other side perspective, but I'm in here now. I can see, in case you didn't watch it, but I did notice it, and I spoke about it. It's like a jazz band happening up here. There's two people sitting at a table. They are armless, or maybe I just can't see their arms. Something along that lines. Okay, so following up here, there's actually a crease in the canvas. And if you know me, it's a raw, rough cut canvas, so there's a lot of tearing and ripping. The linear lines don't always exist here, and I leave that. And it also has like a divinely durable feel in it. But I'll leave some of the creases because it lends in the background, creating the ink blot, and then almost like destroying the mat to get the background. Anyway, so here he is up here, and you can see him like reaching up towards the heaven and like sending something out. There's a silver speck here, and I'm sending something out. Empaths, and maybe it's a reminder sometimes that you send things out as much as you take things in. It's like those who wish upon a star and those who draw the star down and then send it back out. Your wishes can come true because of your position, the Emperor and Seven of Cups. And that's kind of like, I don't know if this card will come through, but maybe, no, let's try. Okay, so I see there's like a being here like walking on these different pillars. That's what I was saying before. Emperor. The Emperor in these cards, of course, if the Emperor means anything to you, follow that. I tend to follow the artistry first, but see how he is in water. Feeling, the masculine feeling. Interesting. I felt like the other side was more feminine feeling. This feels more masculine feeling. But I'm seeing them as lightning bolts in there. There is power in that. There is power in that feeling of what's being projected out. It's almost like I can see like if there's electricity in the water. Not in a death-defying way, but hopefully you know what hopefully you know what I mean. The High Priestess, the Five of Swords, the Eight of Wands. I'll take one more if you're there. No, we're good. Okay. So as I'm in this space here and we're closing out, and obviously as a totality, anything that you see, because you can come revisit an ink blot many, many times. I see someone doing tricks up here with a very large energy. It's being manipulated with a devilish tail. I am also seeing as the donkey and the rabbit. So sometimes getting a hold of our fears, getting a hold of the energies that people might have really given away because it's so uncomfortable, right? It's like, please take a piece of this. I cannot carry this. You might take it in, transmute it again, add a little bit of that compassion, add a little bit of bravery, add a little bit of courage, and then give it back. And then give it back and say, okay, yeah, I understand that, but you're giving it back a little nicer so it can be received for the true learning, the High Priestess, for the point, the gratitude for whatever is really going on beyond our earthly emotions, not our ethereal emotions or our energetic emotions. That's what it feels like you are doing. Five of Swords, and we were just talking about that with the Eight of Wands. Sorry if I didn't bring that in. And seeing the rabbit and the donkey, other people's feelings, including your own, taking them in. It's like, teaching them how to do tricks or playing with them a little bit, having some fun, lightening them up and giving them back or releasing them. Because there's a whole thing happening in here. I'm not going to be able to get into it without, because I could spend, honestly, an unreal amount of time with one ink blot and revisiting it many times. But there's a whole storyline in here too. But you do help others, including yourself, with anything Five of Swords of going on in the mind, any conflicts, any wounds, ego to essence, and the fight stops. Even if you're in this moment with me, the fight stops. And I stand in it with the Emperor and the High Priestess, and they work together for the Seven of Cups and Eight of Wands, working it, finding the elements that work to help the situation as it steps forward, perhaps even really growing in your empathic abilities. Apologies there. Okay, I'm going to let you go. It has been my honor. Thank you as always. Until the next Met message, spirit message, or the signs coming up. Thank you. Bye.